Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celebrate Black Excellence. I'm your digital host, Carlton T. Clay. My next guest is a treat to have. We have one of the original cast members of the hit Nickelodeon series, All That, Angelique Bates. How you doing today, Angelique?
I'm blessed. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you so much for being here on Celebrate Black Excellence, where we celebrate you and everything that you have contributed to the Black community. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
All right, so let's get started. How did you get started with acting and comedy and all that good stuff?
Oh, my mother, she put me in when I was 9 months old, so I didn't have much of a choice. She said when I was born, as the months progressed, she said I talked, so she said I said hello. So she's like, that was her sign right there. She's like, oh, she's gonna be a star. So she put me in like modeling. The borax, I think it was like a detergent back then. She put me in the modeling. I got booked for that. Tony Orlando, I just messed up his name, but he was from, I want to say, The Odd Couple. And Tony Lando, there was a Tony Lando. And he was one of the stars of the borax ad. And I always joke, I'm like, that was one of like my first, I guess, nude projects because I was like wearing a diaper.
Right.
Now, actually, I said first like it's been more. That's the only one, actually.
Now, as we mentioned, you are one of the original members of All That. Now, how did you get started with that show? Like, how did you hear about the show?
Oh, once again, it goes back to my mother. So when she, I said hello, that was just like the beginning of everything. So she started putting me in a lot of acting classes. I was part of an acting troupe called Theater Rascals, and I went to Amazing Grace Conservatory. What was originally All God's Children. Wendy Raquel Robinson from The Game.
Okay.
And the Steve Harvey Show is actually, she runs that school. And that was a conservatory, actually it still is, acting, dance, singing, anything, you name it. I was a triple threat, I feel like I'm a quadruple threat. But she put me in this talent show. It was called the Ivar Theater Talent Show for the inner city kids. I don't know if they still have it now, but it was in Hollywood, California. And I was up for first place. I ended up getting second place. And Richard Delancey, who is the creator of Unsolved Mysteries, came to one of the talent shows. He discovered me. I always tell her this. He discovered me, but because he didn't represent children, he went to go get his friend, who's John who passed away, and had him come and watch me. And he ended up signing me on as one of his clients for his talent agency, for the NY agency. And at that particular point in time, they were doing the All That auditions. And the interesting thing about that is I was actually with another agency. That agency sent out one of my other buddies, but they never sent me out for that audition. And he had just signed me, and he sent me out, and I ended up booking it after like months of auditioning and doing different characters. So needless to say, the other agency was kind of feeling it, like, we should have sent her out.
Right. Now, what was the auditioning process like for you?
Oh my gosh, it was different because I want to say I was like 11, 12. Had never auditioned for a series. I was actually up for a movie at the particular point in time. So the auditioning process was a little bit different. And my representation ended up actually kind of confusing the auditions. So I ended up going into this movie audition that I was the lead for. And I was supposed to be like this inner city kid, and I go and dress as Urkel, because I was dressed as Urkel for all that. So I had the glasses, I had the suspenders and everything. So I was going into all that dressed up as Urkel, Busta Rhymes. I was, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I was doing all these different improvs and different characters. And I was dancing, rapping, doing everything. And for months, it just kept on happening because it was, pretty much nationwide.
Right.
And there were a couple of times that I didn't think that I had it because, like I said, it was a little bit different. It went a little bit longer. I was used to, callbacks the next week. That was pretty much the norm, or either you found out that week. And every time I thought that I didn't have it, they're like, oh, you got another one. And then we were past the normal 3. So I'm like, I don't have it. I'm more focused on, booking the movie. And then the next thing you know, like a couple months later, boom, it's like, oh, you're going to Orlando.
Yeah. Well, we remember you for being on the first 2 seasons of the show. You definitely made us laugh. I remember as being a kid, watching you on television, watching all of you just enjoy my Saturday night. So thank you so much for what you contributed to our childhood. So thank you so much for that. We definitely have to celebrate you for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now, again, as we mentioned, you were on the first 2 seasons. If we may, what actually led to your departure? 'Cause I know a lot of people wonder, like, what happened. So, like, why did you, why you left the show?
Well, just the show in general, I didn't even realize how much of an influence I was having on the community, because actually being Native American and of West Indian descent, of Haitian and Bahamian descent, I didn't know that I was like this role model for so many, because I was pretty much the first one, the ethnic one of color, female wise, on the show.
Right.
So, thank you for the acknowledgement. When I ended up off the show, it was because they didn't want to renew the contract. There were a lot of inside, situations that happened on the set that ended up playing a hand in me not coming back, because I was supposed to come back. I was supposed to come back 3rd season. I actually had a single that I had released that I was going to be able to perform on the show. And it was very unfortunate. I love my fans, my supporters, and I wanted to be there for them, and it was crazy because they had did the first Good Burger. And that was actually, it was going to be, pretty big. But, God always has other plans and bigger and better.
Awesome. Yes, that is so true. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, I know you also shared with me that you dealt with homelessness as well. So can we talk about how you endured that, and like what you went through? Like, tell us your story on that.
A lot of people think that once you're, in the industry, it's like you're rich, and especially if you look on I think it's Google, it's like the net worth. It's like, come up with us, or like, we're worth $1 million, we're worth $1 billion. Mm-hmm. People aren't understanding that's the worth. They're calculating what we should be getting. A lot of us haven't even touched that. If we were getting the royalties that we were supposed to be getting, if we were getting, the residuals, if we weren't getting 5-cent residuals, that was our worth. Mm-hmm. A lot of us don't have that. So, a couple of times, I'm one of those people that I have a big heart, and I'll try to I'll give you the shirt off my back. Sometimes that literally will end up putting me in a predicament, because I just gave you the shirt off my back. But, if I think that you're a friend, if I think that you're family, I'm going to look out for you.
Right.
And the most recent situation, it kind of, I was trying to, help a family member. And I've learned from, this recent experience that you can't help anybody that doesn't want to be helped. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of us are guilty of that, because when you love somebody, like I said, someone is close to you, you don't want to see anyone get hurt or, just be down. But I know so many people, and this was very eye-opening for me, for the situation I ended up in, for how many people that I know, how many people that I have put in situations, how many people, whether it was just me letting them tote along and putting them in rooms where they could grow in, or creating opportunities for them. When I hit the bottom, there were probably only 4 people, literally 4 people that tried to catch me. Mm. And it helped out of everybody that I know people that are on, #1 shows, got awards, your favorite artists. And for those that knew, no one tried to assist. And no one's entitled to, but it just ends up being very eye-opening when things are going good and you're on the red carpet and they're on social media and they're leaving you emojis. It's like, oh, this is my sister. This is my man. We've known each other for X amount of years. And you have those kind of situations. If it was not for God, mm-hmm. If it was not for God, let me say, okay?
I hear you.
Because you never think that you're going to get, become homeless. I volunteer with My Friend's House org, lunchback #ATL, and then we help people that are homeless or that are on the verge. I've been on Skid Row helping. I never thought that I would end up being that close to it. Mm-hmm. And even when I was sleeping in the car, bouncing here, sleeping in Airbnbs, it was times I had to rent cars just to be able to make sure we had somewhere to be able to sleep in. But I'm still sitting here going to a red carpet, still, making sure I have my auditions, finding someone's living room to, make sure that I can turn this audition tape in time. It becomes really real. Like I said, it becomes very eye-opening. And it didn't happen for long. I want to say I was probably 8 months. So I was very blessed, because I know some people that are still homeless. There's some people that have come up missing that there's like one person in particular that we're actually looking for. But they become homeless. Like I said, it just becomes very eye-opening, you know? And when you pretty much have no one but God,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see those four people, because even like I said, no one's entitled. I don't want anyone thinking that they're like it's an entitlement, like, no, you're supposed to. No, no one's supposed to. But when you try to put yourself in a position and you try to ask for certain titles, I feel like you should show up,
Yeah.
especially if someone has showed up for you. And then, like I said, there's so many people that I see in the industry that go through things. The actor that was from the Bill Cosby show, they wanted to make fun of him when he was at Trader Joe's working. There's a reason why people working. So just have some kind of compassion for people, because you never know what they're going through. Like, I know once this come out, people are gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? Well, there were situations where I did try to reach out. But, you know, I feel like, don't put on a fake face when you feel like something is down and it's your moment to get likes and comments or to get press from it. If you're a genuine person and you genuinely care about somebody, then show up then. It shouldn't matter if I tell you what's going on, because if you were one of those people that was actually genuine, like I might call you and be like, hey man, how you doing? I do this thing called body check. If I haven't heard from somebody in like a month or a couple weeks, I always be like, body check, you good? You all right? And they'll send me a message, they'll laugh and be like, yeah, I'm good, sorry, I've been going through this. And then they'll tell me, or they won't tell me.
Right.
But I just feel like with your family, if your friends, you check on those that are around you. It doesn't matter. Someone might not be homeless. We got the SAG strike going on. We have the pandemic. We have so much going on in the world. We have wars happening right now. We have massacres happening. Everybody's not okay. Everybody's not okay. So like, even your strongest person, and there's people that think that I'm so strong, but even your strongest person is tired.
Yeah.
So you just never know. Just show some compassion. It doesn't take 2 seconds to just text somebody or, call, be like, hey, you okay? You good? You all right? And if they tell you, they tell you. If they don't, they don't. But at least you reached out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being vulnerable and open and sharing that. We definitely appreciate that for sure. Thank you so much. Now, after a 20-year hiatus, you are getting back on the stage doing stand-up. Why did you make that decision? How does that feel for you to be back doing stand-up?
Oh, well, the pandemic and the SAG after strike. Out there. Oh my gosh, I took the retirement because it wasn't fun for me anymore. I always tell people, do things that are fun. Once the job starts feeling like a job, it's not fun anymore. It's start finding other things that make you happy. It's like, it's self-care, self-love. It took me a very long time to discover that. The periods that you guys didn't see me, and I've been very vocal about this. I dealt with domestic violence. I dealt with, suicide attempt. I dealt with depression. So there was just like a period where it was just like I was letting go of a lot of my gifts, and a lot of it due to what was going on in the industry, the behind the scenes of that. But the comedy was always my love. The stage has always been my love. A lot of people may not even remember that, I was doing stand-up at the Laugh Factory. I was part of Damon Wayans boot camp. And I was one of the first Black females, African-American females, to graduate from his camp, and youngest at the time. And Entertainment Tonight had covered it and everything. And from there forth, I was on the Ha Ha Cafe. Kim Whitley and Buddy Lewis, they would do a weekly show every week. And I would go there to the Ha Ha Cafe and perform. I loved it. But then, like I said, it just became not fun anymore. Yeah. So after 20-something years and this strike, because none of us are really working at all, a lot of us have been very vocal about it. It's kind of like, okay, so what do I do? One day I just went. I just went to, this one venue, and I did an open mic to, get my nerves going or whatever. Went, they loved it. I was like, okay, cool. Then I went like another week. They loved it. Like, they were laughing. I mean, I didn't doubt myself, but I was still nervous. Right. That's different. And I still get stage fright to this day. I don't even care, but I do. So, they loved it. Every joke was like boom, 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 boom. And then they ended up reaching out to me, telling me that they wanted to book me. And I was just like, oh, I guess we're here. Because for years, like I had talked to a couple people, I had talked about wanting to come back out, but it's one of those things, if I'm not feeling it, if my heart's not into it, I don't give my all. But, you know, now I felt like I don't have any excuses. I mean, there's people, I know someone right now, and I mean, he just, I look at what the stuff that he does, like no excuses. I mean, he's constantly just out there, you know, so many challenges, but he's just out there. He's doing it, performing, doing this, whatever he can do, he's doing it. No excuses. None of us have any excuses. Can't say, oh, the auditions, or we got to go here, we got to. There's nothing happening right now. We're on strike. So what is your excuse? If you got gifts, use them. I see all these content creators creating things. You know, you have people like, oh, I don't have the right camera. You got a phone though, right? You have ideas. If you can be on Instagram, sitting here liking, commenting, laughing, whatever, sharing videos, then that means you can make them. If you can, I always tell people, and I'm like, you have all those fans, that's money. That's money. If you have something that you're working on, then you need to put your supporters, they support you, right? Then put them to use. Tell them where you're going. Tell them that you've got merchandise. If anyone is on your page, and I feel like this, because you have the lurkers and then you have the ones that support, you will start weeding through who's actually really there, just who's there just to, you know, like the page or whatever, help the algorithm, because algorithm helps too. I always tell people, like, oh, they're not buying this, but that algorithm helps. So just like use your page, people are sitting on billion-dollar plans and ideas and social medias, and they're not using it. None of us, including myself, should even be touching the streets of homelessness, the door, anything. You know, all of us are so gifted. And that was one thing I had to look at. And like I said, when I look at him, I just feel like, oh my God, I know he doesn't really want to do this, or he probably would rather do something else, but what's my excuse? You know, what's my excuse? And I've got kids, you know, so I have no excuses. I've got kids that are looking up to me, that want to be in the industry. They want to do other things. One is a creator, you know, one wants to do arts. You know, that stuff costs money. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about school. You have to think about training. You got to think about equipment. There's no excuses. These kids didn't ask to be here. So, you know, a lot of us, you know, got to step up. And those that don't have kids, it's like, we got to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. You know, if you are breathing, then you have a chance. There's always a chance to get it right.
That's right.
And if you didn't get it right that day, go to the next day. As long as you keep waking up, you have the chance, you have the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Just keep on. Just one step. I don't care if it feels like it just crashed. Something happened. Plant the seed. Just keep on playing. Just don't give up on yourself. And that's one thing I learned from all of this, even being homeless. No one's going to come and save you. Like, I had to save myself. And you could, you know, you could feel sorry for yourself. You could be like, oh, well, this person didn't do this. You know, this person didn't do that. But everybody gets their time to shine. And, you know, the tables always turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you're also involved with music. Yeah, like you said, you're multi-talented. You already said that, but you're also involved in music. You have a new song with friend of the show, LaTangela. You know, we interviewed her recently here on Celebrating Black Excellence. Can you tell us about the song and like what the experience is like being on part of the song?
Oh man, I love her. LaTangela is awesome. She was definitely a plus side of working for the company, because, you know, I got to meet her, and that was, you know, I have so many great relationships, and she was definitely a person that helped out too with that situation happening with being homeless. So I definitely want to give a shout out to her. She reached out and was just like, hey, you know, I got this song. I want you on it, because a lot of people know that I rap. That was another thing I kind of just stopped doing, because it's like, if I'm not feeling it, I won't do it. And the way that the music world is going, I'm not subscribing to a lot of what's being put out. So I didn't want to be a part of the problem. And until I could figure out which direction to help and influence and promote positivity, I just stopped doing it. So she came to me about the Christmas song. I was like, okay, well, that's pretty positive. And, you know, it doesn't get more positive than that. And she wanted to do a 90s theme. And I'm like, well, we're 90s, you know? So immediately I hopped on it. Immediately. It was no questions asked. Leon from All That, he was one of the later episodes. He came through, you know, we recorded or whatever, bumped it back to her. Boom, it's getting ready to come out the 15th of this month.
Okay.
And I'm just excited. You know, it was fun. And it kind of reminded me of the whole like TLC kind of flavor, swag. And it takes you back to the 90s. Because like I said, it's so much going on in the world. People just want to feel good. People just want to be happy.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just happiness. So that's what we're trying to show, put out there. We're trying to take it back to the 90s. I don't know about anybody else, but I know the 90s for me, the 90s was a fun era for me.
Yes, absolutely. Best era, of course, the 90s.
Yes.
Now, what words of encouragement or inspiration can you give someone that's listening right now?
Oh, the best advice that I could give is don't give up. I don't care what, like I said, I don't care what's being given at you, challenges after challenges. Like I said, after this year, it was challenges after challenges after challenges after challenges. Bank accounts getting frozen, you're not knowing where you're going to sleep. It just looking like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You keep on hearing, keep your faith, keep your faith, keep your faith. And then, there's ones like, oh, I'm praying for you. And I never understood it before, but I have heard people be like, I'm tired of hearing about the prayers. I'm tired of hearing about this. Like, it's not doing me any good. That I've heard people say that. Technically it is, but you can't expect anyone else to save you anyway, whatever it is. You got to be your own hero. Stop being everybody else's hero. Because if you're not okay, then you can't take care of anybody else if that's what it is. It's this analogy that I remember someone telling me, and I understand even more now. It's like we're all bank accounts. If we're sitting here and we're constantly taking out of our bank account, and you're giving to this person, you're giving to this person, you're giving to this person, and everybody's just taking. Nobody's giving. What ends up happening? That bank account ends up getting lower and lower and lower, and depending on what kind of bank you have, it might decline or it might end up doing an overdraft. And then what happens when you have the overdraft? They want to hit you with the overdraft fees. The next thing you know, the bank, like, that's pretty much life.
Yeah.
If you're not being deposited into, whether it's love, whether it's opportunities, people helping you, anything, you're gonna die. And you're going to die inside, and then the next thing you know, it's going to be physical. So take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Stop being everybody's hero, and stop feeling like people owe you something. Because, even though I don't care if you grew up with certain people. There's so many people that I grew up with, call them brothers, call them sisters. They was nowhere to be found, But guess what? God puts people in your life for moments. And some are supposed to be longer than others, and some not. They are put in your life for what they were supposed to be put in your life for. It's up to you to take the lesson from that.
Absolutely.
Don't feel any kind of fear. Just know, okay, well, thank you for the moments that we shared. I just know I can't go on this path with you.
Right.
And then always keep God first. And, we're in different times. God, I am, the spirit, just keep the positivity around you, keep that focus, keep spiritually strong, because you cannot do it without God. Period. You could try. Some of us have tried, and trust me, you don't want to be there. Just keep focused, and always learn. Never stop learning. You never can stop learning. And be open. Like I said, show compassion. And because right now in the world we're in, there's a lot of people don't have any compassion. Everybody's in a rush to go nowhere. Everybody's mad. Everybody's distracted, going this way. People want to immediately tell. Everybody's a psychiatrist. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just went, oh, well, why are you doing that? What? You don't know what's going on in people's life. 1 minute, like even we, Chad, we had him. They wanted to sit here and talk about him. Then the next minute you find out he had cancer. And then what happened? When he passed away, then it was like, oh, we're so sorry. You never know what people are going through. It could have been that one moment that you had to make that person feel some kind of way. It could have been just that one moment at work, or just being quiet. Yeah. It doesn't hurt to be quiet. Focus on yourself. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, and just get the bag, as they want to say. Go get the bag. Get whatever. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. Stop worrying about everybody else. Focus on you. Absolutely. And love yourself.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for those words. If anybody wants to follow your journey, how can they do so?
They can either go to my website, angeliquebates.com, or you can just, I would say go there because everything is there. But if you don't want to go to the website, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, doing my little dances and everything. And then go to Apple Music and, download our songs. Because I've got another single out called Complicated. And like I said, we getting ready to drop the Jolly song with LaTangela Newsome, and just in time for the holidays.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Angelique, for being here on Celebrate Black Excellence. We definitely celebrate you and all that you've done, all that you contributed. So thank you so much for being with us on this day.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, everyone, I am Carlton T. Clay. This is Celebrating Black Excellence. We celebrate Black excellence every day. Have a good one.